All right, good afternoon, everybody. Good evening to you in Monrovia, Liberia. Welcome to the platform called Liberia Shall Rise. And today, our segment is Table Talk. This is the segment, the second Sunday of every month, where we come together and we discuss good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful issues taking place in Liberia, the ugly issues taking place in Liberia. And we just discuss, we just talk as Liberians, talking to our brothers and sisters in Liberia. And if you're in Monrovia, Liberia, you're hearing us on um, uh, Freedom FM 87.9. And the guys in studios in Liberia, we say thank you for joining us. Thank you for making this program live to our brothers and sisters. We are just going to take a quick musical break. And right after that break, we're going to come back and we are going to get the show on the road. I have with me in studio Dr. Emmanuel George. He's always here. And right after that, we will probably have the other guys joining us here shortly. But we are here for 1 hour, and we thank you for inviting us into your living rooms, into your bedrooms. Definitely have the show share and let others follow us as well. If you want to share a comment, I believe there's going to be a number on the screen shortly that you can call to be part of the broadcast. We will be right back to resume the show. Indeed, Liberia is on the rise, and that's a song by Calvin Adams. And today we are going to be discussing what I am calling the saga that is taking place in Liberia, the stalemate, if you want to call it that. I know some folks are calling it the stalemate. But Dr. George, I'd like to start with a soapbox this evening. When I say evening, I'm speaking to our brothers and sisters in Liberia. So because I know it's after 7 in Liberia now. But I want to start with a little soapbox. And basically, look, as we actually sit back here and watch what is unfolding with the first branch of government in our country, as a young kid when I was in Liberia, I always heard the parable where people say, when two elephants fight, it is the grass that suffer. Yeah. And so I think this actually applies to what is taking place, because it goes way beyond members of the House, the 73 members of the House. It goes way beyond them. Those individuals are actually sent to do a job for the constituents and for the Liberian people. And for the past 2 months or so, none of that is taking place. I don't know what is happening in those different districts, but the people are actually at a standstill. And it is the Liberian people whose work are not being done. The people that they have sent to represent them, those people are failing them miserably. And that's my soapbox I want to start with before you get the show on the road.
Yeah, and that's true, Mr. Sheriff. The Liberian people elected 73 lawmakers to do their work. Out of these 73 lawmakers, we have 2 blocks now, and we have never done that in Liberia before. We have the group that call themselves the majority bloc. and then the other group that is called the minority bloc. So we have a situation. But let me just say good evening to our friends that are listening to us on Freedom FM 87.9 and 89.7. I keep missing this thing around in Monrovia, Liberia. Um, to those of you who are watching us on Facebook, on YouTube, good evening to you all. And we look forward to a great conversation. Join us in this conversation. I strongly believe that we will be able to share with each other what's going on in our thoughts. But yeah, Mr. Sheriff, I totally agree that we the Liberian people in October 2023 elected 73 lawmakers to go and represent them. They are the people represented. That's why they are the first branch of government. They are the people representative. The people, 50,000 people in each district went out and said, we need this person is going to be the one representing 50,000 of us for the next 6 years. And 50,000 of us have put our trust and our confidence in this in this person that's coming from our district. And we're doing that because we know that we need to have some development in our district. We need that person to lobby so we can have electricity, we can have roads network, we can have pipe-borne water. Our kids will have the opportunity of good education. That's the reason that we're elected to go out there and lobby with the executive in order to make sure that there's some form of development going in the district. And I show the 50,000 people that elect persons from those districts that participated in these elections for these legislatures. They are sitting down either bewildered or amused as to what is going on right now in our country.
It's crazy that you use that word amused, because I know exactly what you're saying, that because of they have no choice but to either take one way or the other. You can take the negative side or they can just amuse themselves. But when you really look at it, there is no amusement in what is taking place. Because not only look, I mean, when you look at governments around the world, you will come to notice that the bread and butter issue is actually the things that are actually removing government from seats now. Whether and the economy, I mean, that is exactly what's taking people from power. I know Ghana, they're doing that thing, but you sitting there and you're watching all of these things unfold. The person who can really come and represent that people, whether economically, whether you are there to provide for those people, that tells you exactly whether you're going to hold your seat or not. And when you say amusement, I know exactly the point you're coming from. You're not finding this funny, but it is going to be a big joke for these individuals when they come up for election in the next election. I mean, it's going to. This for me, I've been looking at it. In this particular direction. It would tell me exactly what is the mindset of the Liberian people. Are you going to bring these same people back in office after this whole mess for almost going to Christmas and nobody's even feeling festive? And legislatures are there, and these legislators, they are living their lives. Their kids are going to school. They are getting income, but nothing has been done for the common people that send you to office to say, come and represent us. So the everyday people, what I'm looking at the election implication when it comes around, what's going to happen. And let's talk about the majority and the minority block. Let's talk about these two blocks, because this is becoming not just legislature getting that feelings hurt. It goes way beyond Speaker Kofa. Right now is all about the Constitution, question about our Constitution. So let's look at these two blocks and see exactly what's happening there. Let's break it down for the everyday people, because I was asking some friends who are just everyday people in Liberia, and they just like, my man, we know what happening. We even know. Some people don't even seem to understand what's really taking place. So let's talk about the majority and minority and talk about the constitutionality of what's taking place.
Yeah, it's great. It's great, Mr. Sherry, the point you have raised, a very serious point, because in a serious democratic and situation that we have, when Karl Marx speak to us in his theory of historical materialism, he says that there was a time in human history where we found out that every one of us could not go to the House of Representatives to go and speak. And, during the Greek civilization, every morning you wake up in Greek civilization, you go to the Colosseum, you go to the square, and you get into rigorous argument with Socrates, Aristotle, Plato, and form was held, your words were heard. Senators came there and participated in this vigorous argument. But we can't do that as citizens of the state again in this modern democracy. So therefore, in the Liberian Constitution says that we should demarcate our country whenever there is a population of 50,000. We should demarcate that 50,000 and make it a district. So 50,000 people representing each of the districts in Liberia, 50,000 people, I think 25 to 50,000 people from each of those districts in Liberia, sit and said, well, since the 50,000 of us cannot go to the House of Representatives, we're going to elect one person every 6 years to represent our interests.
Mm-hmm.
We elect this one person every 6 years to go to the House of Representatives to represent the interests of whatsoever district you come from, whether District 1 to District 7. And that's one of the reasons, as we did the argument, that's one of the reasons why trucking and busing people from one district to another should be something that every Liberian should frown off, because when people come from other districts into your district and elect a representative on your behalf, they have electing someone to go and represent you that may not be the person you want to represent you. But this is the situation. This is the timeline. There have been some agitation in the national legislature, in the House of Representatives specifically, and that's normal in any political environment in the world. There is always differences that people have. So Speaker Fonati Kofa has gone on a mission with the president, and while he was away, a group, quote unquote, that called himself Majority Bloc. So they call themselves, it's not that we're stating that the name Majority Bloc, but this group on the 17th of October attempted to remove the speaker. There was halbalu and all kinds of stuff. Many of you saw it on Facebook that took place with Representative Melvin Coley in charge of the opposition. And what was planned, initiated, and put in place to happen on October 17th did not take place. 3 days later, on the 22nd of October, this group released a press conference, a press statement. And they announced that 41 of them on the Friday evening of that week, 41 of them were determined to restore dignity. That's the words. And I hope people listen to us. What they said in the press conference, that there were 41 of them that were attempting to restore dignity and integrity to the Honorable House. That's the major work they said they came out to do, to restore what they call, quote unquote, what is in their mind to be dignity and integrity. And so they convened an emergency meeting, and they had their own leader by the name of the Honorable Samuel Koga as the chairman of the bloc, and the Honorable Sekou Kanen was elected as co-chair with Honorable Marcus Thomas as the secretary. That was the press conference they held. They said that the number swelled by 2 from the Friday to Saturday, swelled to 43 members that they have. And these 43 members, we're going to call their names so that people can know them. And people here, but these are the 43 people who is in the Majority Bloc. Thomas Fala, Samuel Koga, Mayor Johnson, Judy Weir, Gese, some of the names I may not pronounce it well. Gese, Colin Nays, Momo Poto, Jeremiah Sokam, P. Mark Jure, Ava Jones, Dowon Glikia, Fode Famule, Clarence Gard, Michael Thomas, Steve Takeway, Emmanuel Yan, Samuel Brown, Asek Chelopele, Nika Gay, Johnson Williams, Alexander Pore, Samson Weir, Anthony Williams, Ernest Mensah, Sam Jala, Ase Bani, Yan Flomo, Alfred Flomo, Rabo Womba, say Mia or something, excuse me, say if I'm Mustafa Warrante, Austin Chiero, Mohammed Donsi, Obadiah Vanins, Sekou Kanen, Richard Kuhn, Prince Tor, Nathaniel Bawe, Mana Bishop Johnson, Prince Conan Ennis, Mancia, Alex Grant, James Conner, and Banks. So these are the 43 representatives. They made up the Majority Bloc. It's these representatives who decided that they wanted to remove the speaker. But again, when they went the next time, there was also fracas. We all saw that on Facebook. They had a situation. So therefore, they moved themselves to to the Luxuria RLJ Hotel on the Ralphie Highway. For most of you who don't know this hotel started during the time of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. That area that is situated near to be the former Kennedy. There where it's situated. It costs $200 a night to sleep in that hotel. The minimum you can pay for a meal in that hotel would be between $15 to $25. That's the minimum you can pay for a meal. That's your meal with all drinks and other things allocated to it. Now, these are represented, they are big boys. They make $15,000 a month. So they can definitely afford to spend $200. If that $200 times 5 days in a week is $1,000. So they are paying about $1,400 every month every week to sleep in that hotel. And they all have houses in Monrovia that we have paid for. We pay for the servant, we pay for the driver, we pay for the generator. They all have houses that we pay for, but yet them still they decided that they are going to stay in a hotel and pay $1,400 a week. You multiply that by 4, that should tell you how much they are paying. That's something over $5,000. I'm not good at math, but that would be something over $5,000. That's where they stay. Now, on the day they had the first situation, a representative from Babulu County, Luther Collins, revealed to the Liberian people that $15,000 was being shared around, and he showed it in the Facebook Live video for his signature. So someone decided to pay each of these 43 lawmakers $15,000 for the signature in order for them to do 2 things they said in the press conference: to restore integrity and dignity to the House of Representatives. They were paid $15,000. It allegedly paid $15,000. The case is with the LACC. For those of you who are joining, it's at the LACC.
So, Dr. George, I mean, the story is going. This is great, but what I'd like to do, though, I don't want to kind of gloss over what you just said. Please just hold your place. I hope you don't lose your place. But basically, 2 things happening now. That you want to restore integrity. I think you and I, we did another table talk where we talked about the Supreme Court, where they were actually saying we want to build a new office because we want to restore, judicial system, all of that. We talk about that. And we say, look, nobody has to pay you to be this person of integrity. We talk about that. But then here are the majority bloc. They are saying, look, man, we want to restore integrity to this honorable house. But yet, as you go to your prestigious hotel, you are now receiving brown envelopes. So where is the integrity piece of that? How do you restore something that you don't have in the first place?
Yeah, we must because of the law and other things. We must
So it's alleged. And I talked to some good friends who I felt like, I heard some news that they too were implicated. When I called them and just like, my man, it's just a Roman. So you're right. It's alleged.
It's alleged.
This brown envelope.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
$15,000, but it was reported by Representative Luther Collins from Babulu. I think it's from District number 1 or 2 from Babulu County. So he reported that. So we know that it is, and they're living in that. They're spending $1,400, $1,400 a week to be. That is just the bill. You got to eat, and I know there are people who eat, and they are honorable people. They eat 3 times a day, and so that means they are spending another $75 to $100 for. And they have wives, they have children. The wives and children will come to visit.
Look, those people, wives and children, they are doing just fine. Their wives, their children, their side chicks, they're doing fine. They
come to the hotel to eat because their dad is in the hotel, so they need to eat.
But Dr. George, this is why I like this segment so much. This is why I like Table Talk, because we can be fun, we can be serious. But here's my thing though. Today, seriously, I want to look at the everyday people, because every day, look, I just got a text message. I can show you, but for privacy of that person, I'm not going to show you. That person just sent me. This is someone who had a job. They were working at one point in time, working with Unimil when they were in Liberia. The person just sent a message to me. The person said, "My brother, I died." And you scared to even ask you, my friend, what killing you? Are you sick, or is it just the economy? But people are struggling in the country, and here you just mentioned everything that these lawmakers are enjoying. Their lives, their side chicks, they're buying cars, they're doing all of these different things. And our everyday people that sent them to the house, those people are still waiting. Some parents, decided they will not even send their kids to school this year, this school year. They can't afford it. They just can't do it.
Yeah, and you see, that's a great point. Last week we had a show where we had Mr. Tingbe, George Tingbe from the Labours talking to us.
Mhm.
And it's revealing. I mean, there's no job in the country. There's no job report in the Ministry of Labor have not been able to release any job report in the country for many, many years. So you have this situation. So our legislature is there and they are out there. They are very serious people because they want to restore. That's the reason they're fighting. All the thing they're fighting for is to restore integrity. To restore integrity and dignity, because there's no dignity, there's no integrity. But I was in Monrovia. I don't know what dignity and integrity. I don't want for people to feel a passion. But I was in Monrovia and they went to the House of Representatives. And the kind of cars they are driving, man, see the CEO of my company here, who is a multi-millionaire. but
But Dr. George, let me stop you there for a second. We'll make this segment fun. I will stop you for a second.
Right now, you were just thinking that he's talking about a guy hustling on the street around it.
Dr. George, I'm going to stop you there for a second. Let me stop you for a second. We'll make this so that restoration process, we'll come back to it. But what I want to say though, you know, the politicking, I mean, is just not working. You know, because I really want to get into the Constitution piece. You can call yourself majority bloc all you want, but the Constitution says something completely different. But before we even come to the Constitution piece of this, though, I want us to go back to the importance of this seat, the speakership, the importance of that. You know, because you got the president. When the president is gone, God forbid, you know, we're not saying anything. President Bouaka may he live to be 150 years old. But God forbid if President Bouaka is gone, the next in line for succession automatically is the vice president. After the vice president, Dr. George, if let's say something happened, the vice president is gone, and the term of presidency is still ongoing. Who takes that seat? Who is the next in line for succession?
It's the speaker.
There you go.
Who is in line for succession? Mm-hmm. When the John Chimos meet, the speaker presides, not the Senate, the Senate pro tempore. It's the speaker that resides.
So let's talk about the importance of that seat and why it's important.
It's a powerful seat, and that's why it's stated in the Constitution. So it's a good position to be in. It's a position that many people, it comes with a lot of perks. You have Siri in front of you while every one of us are in the traffic in Monrovia in the morning to find a way. You have this Siri carrying you up and down. You have a budget. I think it's almost $3 to $5 million budget for your office. So yeah, it's something. It comes with a lot of prestige in a constitutional democracy, and that's the reason why, if there is no dignity and integrity in that area, there are people have to come together and decide to restore dignity and integrity, and that's what the majority black seems to be doing. And therefore, Mr. Sheriff, on the 21st of November, the majority black decided now to go to remove the speaker, and they formed their own. They had their own speaker, a gentleman by the name of Richard Coon. Richard Coon lost the elections. He ran against Speaker Funanti Kofa, and he lost. But he found a way to re-emerge. And it's funny, but it's good. He re-emerged, and now we are a country, as people would say on Facebook, we are a country now that have 2 speakers and 1 DJ.
but Dr. George, I just got a text message, and this is horrible. But when I say it's horrible, this is someone in Liberia listening, following us, and the person just sent me a text message. Person said, "But why they won't take the man from there?
Because they want to restore dignity."
But no, that's what it's saying. But but there's politics behind this, though. That's what they want to say.
No, but everything is political. That viewer is right. Let us read why they want to move him. First of all, they want to install dignity and integrity, Mr. Sheriff. And they say that the removal stems from his failure to discharge his official duties in a manner that is fair, proper, and impartial. And they continue. That's the second thing. The part of restoring is to make sure they have a speaker who is fair, proper, and he's impartial. Disregard of the due process occurred on February 7, 2020, when Speaker submitted a list of 3 representatives to the 6th legislature of the ECOWAS Parliament without conducting the required elections. That this is a big reason in the mind of our representatives. Those of us who vote for these people, we love them so much. The big reason is that the Speaker gave 3 names to go to ECOWAS Parliament. Then Speaker Kofa found himself entangled in multiple conflicts of interest. It is a known fact that while serving as Speaker, he continues to act as the lead consultant and legal advisor for various government agencies, concession, private companies, including the Liberian Petroleum Refinery Company, the Liberian Maritime Authority, the National Fisheries, the Aquaculture Authority, all of which fall under the oversight of the very house he presides over. So now, these are serious allegations, and the blatant abuse of power, coupled with his continuing involvement in paralegal work, directly violated the House Rule 45.1, which mandates members to withdraw from matters in which they have an interest. Now, I'm asking those 73 members, those 43 members of the House of Representatives, which one of them don't have interest in anything in that country? If you are one of them, put your hand. If you're listening to me on the radio, put your hand up, because we know many of you have interest in all kinds of things in our country. So, but it's nice. It's great that it raised these points. But what the public is asking for, Mr. Sherry, I know you want to have it. What the public is asking for is that, okay, according to our rules and regulation as Liberians and our constitution, when every accusation is an allegation, you have not had an investigation. We have not heard from LPRC whether Speaker Kofa is still representing them in the legal matters they have in court. We have not heard from the National Aquatic, Fisheries and Aquatic Corporation, whether Speaker Kofa is the legal representative. So the issue is that it is good. You can accuse anybody, especially in our beautiful country called Liberia. You can accuse anybody for anything you want to accuse them for, but that you should take the President Code of Law. An investigation should be held. The Auditor General should audit. Then they come up with the findings so that we can investigate these people, investigate them, and find out that, oh, it is this what Speaker Kofa doing? Yes, it is conflict of interest, and we make him a prime example.
Okay, so let's break this down. Let's make it easy for our viewers in Liberia. And again, if you are listening to us from Monrovia, you are probably getting us on Freedom FM 87.9 and also following us on YouTube and Facebook. If you have any comments, send those comments in. We'll make sure to address it as much as we can. But let's go back to the constitutionality. These people can say we are 41, we are 43, we are 42 now. They can say all of those things that they want to say. What does our book say? What does our constitution say when it comes to the removal of our speaker? What do we have to do? Is there a process? Is there a procedure that we need to follow to be legit? Because right now, the reason I keep going back to the political aspect, people are politicking with people's way of life in Liberia. Look, we got brothers and sisters and family in our country, and the reason this becomes personal to us is not because we want to disparage the country. That's far from it. But the reason we speak to it right now, as Christmas is coming, as holiday is coming, we are the one getting bulk of the text messages and all of the phone calls, and people. Look, Liberians, they are good people. I don't think anybody want to sit there and beg for anyone for anything. But every text message you receive, one is going to be asking you for money. Every hello you get, how you doing? How's everything going? Somebody is asking you for money. And it is not because they want to, but it is because they have no choice. And the government needs to be addressing that. But, just to pick on one of the speakers, Prince Toll, District number 8, one of the speakers who is on this majority block. Prior to this particular event, his district, he was on a hot seat. They wanted to remove him. I think among all of the representatives, he was one who actually won his district with a very slim margin. Representative Gray almost came back. He won with a very fine-tooth margin. And when he got in office, people were already getting ready to actually go back and say, look, we're going to impeach this guy. There was a campaign to even impeach him, to get him out of office. from a district.
Mm-hmm.
And so now all of this, I just look at this to be a distraction to not do exactly what you need to do for the Liberian people to represent your district. And this has become this whole saga in the country. So let us go back, Dr. George. Let's talk about the constitution piece, because that's what I want you to address. How do we remove our speakers if we want to?
Oh, the law is simple. I will start with the rules first from the Senate. Rule 9 that everybody is quoting. Their own rule, the House of Representatives rule says, Rule 9.1, the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, and other officers of the House may be removed from office for cause by resolution of 2/3 majority of the member of the House. This 2/3 majority is for the 9 persons. They may remove him. That's their rule. A member may be expelled from the House for cause by resolution 9.2 by 2/3 majority of the members of the House. So that's the rule, which is totally in line with the Constitution. The Constitution says the speaker can be removed by a 2/3 majority. But every removal in our Constitution said there should be due process. There should be due process. You should be able to call this person. If you accuse me of stealing, you should be able to call. I should be able to defend myself. It's political. That's what happened to the whole issue of removing someone from office. Is a political issue, which every one of us know. But there should be the pretense, at least, I'm going to use that word pretense. There should at least be the pretense of due process. So you have the same situation that happened with Kabina and Janet. It was a pretense of due process. Everyone had made up their mind. The representative made up their mind. The Senate made up their mind. The whole process was just for us to watch the movies as to how to move to impeach a justice. But mine was made up. Even in Western country in the U.S., the impeachment of Donald Trump, mine was made up in the representative. Mine was made up in the Senate. So even though he was impeached by the House of Representatives, the Senate said, well, I mean, this is a political, you can put as much evidence as you want to put in the book. It's a political situation. These gentlemen, all they had to do was to give the speaker due process. And this is, we have seen this movies played twice. We saw this movie being played with the Honorable Aaron Snow with the whole issue of Taiwan, and it went after him. We saw the movies also being played with the Honorable now Senator Alex Stoddard. It's a whole, the movies, this is the third series in these movies of removing speaker. And the thing is that in our modern democracy, since democracy returned to Liberia, it's only the Unity Party that seems to always be eager to move a speaker. The Unity Party government. The government of Her Excellency Ellen Johnson said, let's remove 2 speakers. And just in the first 1 year of His Excellency Joseph Boyka, we see 1 speaker. So due process is the issue here. Not only due process, but the law says that you should have 2/3, and it should be by resolution. Now, on the day that when they decided to go and ask the speaker, 7 members of the House of Representatives withdrew their signature. Said, I'm not part of this process any longer. I don't want to be identified with you all. Because you all said we're going to give the speaker due process, but it seems that you all have an ulterior motive. There is some leaked text messages out in the public now with this back and forth conversation on this in their own chat room. There's leaked recording with this same back and forth. So they did not have the numbers. So yes, you have 43. It's good. But the law did not say 43. The law said you should have 49.
So Dr. George, let's hold it there for a second. No, this is a good point. So again, we have made it very clear, because basically, I know for most people watching and listening, you know exactly what's happening in the country. But my old mother actually selling that cassava gravy, that old mother selling that roasted cassava, she have no idea why this is taking place. Which is why when I get my text message that say, but why they want to take the men from there for? That's why we're addressing these things. So those who already know, we are not trying to be condescending to you, but not everybody in the country know. So here's this thing. Dr. George, when you talk about the constitution piece of it, 49, the resolution piece, the due process is now ongoing. So clearly, even if we don't want to say it, but we can be very vocal about it and say, you know what, this is all politicking. That's all that's taking place right now. Because the 43 members now who call themselves the majority bloc, not only do they know that they have no legal ground to stand on to do anything, those same 43 members now, they are doing some backdoor thing. And again, we want to say allege, we can say allege all we want. But serious campaigning is going on to add additional members on their side to make it 49 because they understand the implication. There's no legal ground for which they can legally remove this speaker without having the constitutional number, which is that the magic number 49. And then secondly, without that due process, without going through the proper channel. So that politicking is what distracting the whole process from everybody in the country. And now the everyday people, my Oma who's selling cassava gravy, now she got to hustle because not only is it disrupting the house, it's disrupting every part of the society in the country, unfortunately.
Yes, they are. And yeah, I mean, they did move the speaker. Let us be clear. Let us bring people who listen to us in Monrovia, on Facebook, YouTube. They did oust the speaker out, this majority black, oust the speaker out, and they appointed their own speaker.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunate thing, right, also too, is that the government of Liberia found themselves putting themselves in this murky water because immediately after when Kun was elected as speaker, the national police was there to serve to give protection. But yeah, they did move in, and the speaker decided to go to the court. To the court, he went to the court, and there where we are, Mr. Sherry. He went to the Supreme Court to ask for a redress of the situation. Mm-hmm. That place, a Supreme Court, can't it tell us whether these people are acting legally or illegally, whether it is right or whether it is wrong? First of all, it's an embarrassment to our country in the first place to have this kind of situation. And this is my personal opinion. I mean, I think because right now everybody seems to believe that the verdict was for them. The majority blacks said it won, the minority blacks said it won. But people, let us read this thing together, if you won't mind. I have here the ruling from the court, and this is what the court share with us. And I'm going to read. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer. I don't want to pretend to be a lawyer, but I have few lawyers in my family. I did not even pretend to be a lawyer with those lawyers in my family. So I'm not pretending, but I can read. I try to read. So I'm going to read for those of you who are irregular, listen to this thing and ask us who won. Now it says that having carefully examined the contentions of the parties, listening to the arguments on both sides and consider the laws relevant thereto, it is hereby adjudged that the Supreme Court, pursuant to Article 66 of the Constitution, shall be the final arbiter of constitutional justice. But let me just read that one. That it is the law. The law is vague that the Constitution must be interpreted in light of the entire document rather than a sequestered pronouncement. Now, these words were carefully chosen. I love lawyers. They carefully choose the words. If you know them, the good ones. They carefully choose to let the word. Good lawyers. So let me be sure that good lawyers carefully choose and select the words. And in the Supreme Court justices are good lawyers almost all the time. They said that we cannot interpret the Constitution in light. If we want to interpret the Constitution, we must interpret it in light of the entire document, rather than pick up certain portion of the document to interpret it. Because every provision is of equal importance, and even where there is apparent discrepancy between different provisions, the court should harmonize them if possible. This court interpretation of Article 33 of the Constitution of the 1986 Constitution is that whether a simple majority is sitting or a lower number, in both cases, a presiding officer. Now there are some people who running around saying, "Oh, the court did not say the presiding officer is the speaker." They say a presiding officer, so they're using that word "a," but they say a presiding officer defined. Again, this is, I think this is English. We are trying to read. I hope I'm not a lawyer too, but this is how I'm reading it. A presiding officer defined in Article 49 of our Constitution is the Speaker.
That's right. That's right. Dr. George, and that's why I wanted to hold you for a second, because a presiding officer, and this is why both sides of this argument, whether the minority bloc or the majority bloc, both sides are claiming victory, because it is not specified. Because from what you are reading and what I read, I'm really super happy that we took our time to read through those, because all I'm seeing is the big brother, who is the Supreme Court in this place, is saying, go back to your house and put your house in order. Go back and take care of this stuff and address it and take care of it. The Supreme Court is literally washing its hands, saying, look, man, we're not going to take side on this particular thing because it's political. But but that is exactly what is happening. They say a presiding officer, a speaker. That is exactly the language there. It can be
the big argument we're getting around now, that the code did not say the presiding officer, they say a presiding officer. But the code said a presiding officer and define, because according to this, it said a presiding officer defined in Article 49 of the Constitution is the Speaker. So that a presiding officer, not the presiding officer, the quote in the next line, because when I was taught how to read, I don't know how people are taught how to read these things, but when I was taught how to read, again, I'm not a lawyer and I'm not going to pretend to be one. But when I was taught how to read, it said the line following each line in a sentence, in a paragraph, each line are supportive of the other line.
It's a supporting line. It's a
supporting line. They are not distinguished. You don't just cut them out and take the what you want. Each line, each paragraph supports the last sentence that ends. And in this writing of the Supreme Court, again, I'm not going to pretend to be a lawyer, but this writing says that a presiding officer defined in Article 49 of it is a speaker. And in his or her absent, the deputy speaker. This is the second argument we get in Monrovia, that the speaker was absent. Mr. Sherivo, you and myself, we are in the same building. You're running your other issue in room number 9. I'm in room number 10. You have the majority in room number 9. I have the majority in room number 10. I'm the speaker. How can I be absent?
But no. The absenteeism they're talking about, is going all the way back from the very beginning, when they said the man left office, he left his post and he traveled. So,
but they did not vote him out when he traveled.
That's where they're going now, because the Supreme Court left it so open. So they're actually plucking things now. They're trying to support their argument.
No, they can support the argument any way they want to support the argument, because anything you want to see, you will see. But the issue here is that, as far as I'm concerned, again, I'm not pretending to be a lawyer. For those of you who listen in radio, I have no degree in lawyer, never been to law school, never passed through any law anywhere. But the English language seems to be very clear to me. It's not. There's only one Latin word. The lawyers normally like to talk to us in Latin, but this whole thing came in the one Latin word. So, Mr. Sheriff, this thing looked clear to me like daylight. Now, the final part of this, the judgment said that in the event where the speaker is presiding over a minority, and then where the court says we can do nothing about this because you don't have any rules to say this, even though the Constitution said the minority can compare the majority, but the court says even though that in the event where the speaker is presiding over a minority, the Constitution devolved of the mechanism of how the minority is to compel the attendance of absent members, and the legislature have promulgated no enabling statute or standing rules setting forth the process for compelling absentee members to attend sections as envisioned by Article 33 of the Constitution, and that under these circumstances, the Supreme Court cannot do for the legislature what is within their purview to do for themselves. That's your work. And many of them are arguing, the Supreme Court. I agree with them because I'm not a lawyer, but this is the final part of it, Mr. Sherry. Wherefore, in the view of the foregoing, any sitting or action by members of the legislature not in conformity with the intent of Article 33 and 49 of the Constitution, they use their big word, I say, it is unconstitutional. Ultra virus, the new word in Monrovia now. So, As a independent person, I believe it's clear. Now, it is not false that Funanti continued to be speaker. Nana, he birthright. He was not born in our speakership. Is not based on how they call it hairship.
No, we're gonna stop there for a second. Yeah, that it is right. It is true. Any position there, it is fluid. Yes, he is not forced. But if we are going to be a democracy that we claim to be, we are a democracy that we claim to be, then it is super important that we follow the due process. We go through the proper channel. Look, we tried 2 times to remove one man from office in this country. We tried 2 times to remove this man from office. We went through the impeachment part 1, part 2. It didn't work. It didn't work. But we followed due process. We went through the process to make sure that there was no doubt whatsoever that we did something crazy and there was a coup involved. None of that thing happened. So it's the same thing. Yeah, for Mr. Kofa, he was not born and said, this is your office, you want to live here, you want to die here. But let us follow through the process. And exactly. If we go through the process and he is found wanting and he is removed legitimately, I think there will be no uprising.
Yeah,
I believe that there will be no one is going to be having this uproar and say, oh, this was illegal, this was illegitimate, and all of that. But if you don't go through the process, you give voice to other people to illegitimize the process.
And that's true, Mr. Sherry. I totally agree with you. And I hope the 43 members understand this. I don't think when I listen to the majority of Liberia people, whether on the radio or what the majority of us are saying is that this position of speaker, when it was made, it was not made for the Kofa family. The law said a speaker can be removed, but you have to pass through the legal process. You have accused someone. These are profound accusations against somebody. You accuse him of dilly-dallying, of double dipping, of being speaker, but yet still working in a legal practice. There's a lot of substantive argument in this serious accusation. This accusation must be investigated. Because if Speaker Kofi is doing this, it's wrong. And he must be held accountable. But we as a nation, we as a people, and our duly elected representative should be able to follow the proper channel. Mr. Sherry, I know our time is up, but I want to end with this point. And that's the thing about those of us who practice politics in Liberia and those of us who follow Liberian politics. You see, those of you who are listening to me, let me make this point clear. In serious countries, we have political parties, and every political party has an ideology. And members of those political parties respect the underlying ideology. There can be difference on ideology, but they respect the underlying something. The situation that Speaker Kofa is in right now, in a serious, very serious democracy, will not be happening. Let me tell you why. Because in our House of Legislature, there are 25 CDC lawmakers. 25 CDC lawmakers. There are 19 independent lawmakers that vote with CDC. There are 6 people from LP. The ALP has 1 person. The LMU have 1 person. When you look at these numbers, ordinarily the speaker should not be in this kind of position. It is high time that each of us who belong to political party in that country and those are also run political party start to have people who have the political interest of the political party, because the people who vote for you on our political party ticket are voting for you on the manifestos of our political party. That's what political organization is all about. People can't voting for you not because you are Musa John. They can't voting for you. Join the political party. You are Musa John. You join the CDC. You are a member of the CDC because of the political philosophy of the CDC. Now, those of you who are members of the CDC and all these opposition people who turn around to go and vote a unity party speaker, what are you thinking about? What is your mindset? There should always be check and balance in the political system. And whenever we have the opportunity as opposition or imposition or whatsoever position, we must solidify our opportunity. So that is why I'm struggling to understand that these lawmakers who over the years have identified with particular political organizations are finding it difficult to identify with these political organizations, and they're finding themselves in this kind of situation. They find themselves having this kind of situation where the opposition that should be strong now to make sure that our democracy is certified is the one that is fighting against themselves because they want to. I don't know. Mr. Sherry is the one I've been saying it. That you ought to $15,000, but
Man, I won't go back to Liberian peace. I won't don't. But no, but Dr. George, on a serious note, let's do this. On a serious note, I won't go back. I want to go run for office someday. So be nice to me. But let's do this. Let's do this. I mean, you can be scared to say you won't go run for office, but I'm not scared. I will tell you. Someday I will go to that country because serious people got to go. We got to do some serious thing. But let me tell you, here's my thing. I opened the show by saying this. Elections have implications. When you were running around because that particular man or that particular woman came to your district and distribute 5 cups of rice, everybody stay online, get 5 cups of rice. And you was over there screaming in the rain and running all around and voting for that particular lawmaker. Sending them because you thought that person was going to be in your best interest. This is not what you send them to do. This is not what you send them to do for you. Your community is not reaping the benefit that you thought you were going to reap by this mess that is taking place in our country today. That's not what you sign up for. Elections have implications. We are going to come to another election. They are not going to stay there forever. Ask the former legislators that were in office that still are driving around today, that can't show their faces on TV anymore.
They're hustling the other too.
Do I?
They're hustling the other too.
They are. They are. And so there's implications.
All our hustle, they can't get a chance to hustle. They all our hustle too.
They all hustle too. and so if you look around the world, that's how I open the show. If you look around the world, the implication of elections, it will tell you exactly where the people are. Liberians need to be very serious and choose that people, not because those people come and show that glamorous side, but you should choose the people that you think that person will go and have your best interest. Yeah. Go ask our former president. He's going to be former in January. Ask him. You know, elections have implications. If you don't do the bread and butter thing, you don't take care of your people, you're going to be out before you know it. Go and ask the former president of Ghana. I know he's going to be a former now because Mahama is going to win. I think the election, the result is out. I think Mahama win the election. Maybe that could be a breaking news for you. And so you ask all of these former leaders, the bread and butter issue is what serious countries actually vote on. They don't vote because your name is Wia. They don't vote because your name is Sharif. They don't vote because your name is George. You can be a Yakpa Wodo, but if you're going to represent the people, do the people's work. You are the first branch of the government. Legislatures, if you are listening, you are the first branch. You are the people's branch. That's how we call you in our country. Go and do the people's business. Get off this sideline, leave this whole politicking, and do exactly what the people should do. Mr. George, I defer to you, and I'll let you in the show.
And Mr. Sharif, right now we have an impasse. The majority Black believe they have won. In fact, I have seen a posting from the majority Black, a press statement released from the majority Black. I hope I can find that from the majority Black saying that they won the case. The minority Black have also posted that they won the case. Now, this in a serious democracy, in serious government, it's a time for the Minister of Justice to now send out a memo to the different government ministries and different government parastatals to tell them exactly where the position of the government is on this situation. The Minister of Justice can no longer be quiet. He's our lawyer. He's the lawyer of the country.
Lawyer for the people.
He's the lawyer of the people. Yep. He should release a memo now. It's taking them too long to do these things. I don't know why we do it in our country, but since Friday, with all this impasse going on, the Minister of Justice is supposed to release a memo. That memo will either tell the Minister of Finance not to send budget or go to budget hearing to the minority, something they say they are calling. That memo will state clearly the position as is understood by the Minister of Justice, and LD Halubalu will stop in the country. The executive branch now have to take cease. The Funati Kofa, the legislature, Speaker Kofa has gone to court. The court have interpreted. it is now the duty of the executive to send out an executive memo stating clearly the position of the government on this issue. And this should have been done by Friday evening. But they still have chance. Today is Sunday, tomorrow, Monday is the working day, the legislature Tuesday. I hope the Minister of Justice is listening. And those of you who know him also, it is time for the Ministry of Justice to send out a memo to definitely tell us down, especially the executive branch of government, the step forward. They're supposed to be advising Mr. President now. The Supreme Court have passed. What is the step forward? Because I'm hearing some people say, "Oh, go and remove all the immunities from Speaker Kofa, give everything to this one," and there's a confusion that is in play, and that confusion can lead to instability. Thank you all for joining us. Those of you who are watching us on Freedom FM 87.9 Monrovia, who listen to us on Freedom FM 87.9 Monrovia. Those of you who have joined us on Facebook and YouTube, we are very grateful that you joined Liberia Shall Rise. This has been our edition Table Talk with Mr. Sheriff and myself. We will be joining you next week when we come with This Could Be You with another awesome Liberian girl who is doing great in her field. You all have a wonderful evening until we meet again next week, Sunday, 7 p.m. Liberian time, 1 o'clock Central Time, and 2 p.m. Eastern. My name is Emmanuel George, and I'm with my colleague, Mr. Augustine Sheriff. Have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful Sunday. God bless you and your family.